They thought silence meant acceptance. They were wrong. One man, no army, no money, no title, just words. And those words terrified a king. Boston's defiance spread like wildfire. Within days, every colony had heard. Printers worked through the night. Riders galloped through forests in darkness. Farmers read pamphlets by torchlight in their barns. And merchants made a decision that would shake London to its core. They stopped buying British goods. No more British cloth. No more British tools. No more British tea. Every empty ship returning to London was a declaration of war. Think about what that decision meant. These were not soldiers. These were businessmen, men with families to feed, warehouses to fill, ships to keep running. They were choosing poverty over submission, sacrifice over safety. They were choosing something that had no name yet, but would soon be called liberty. In Virginia, a 30-year-old lawyer stood up. His name was Patrick Henry. Burning eyes, zero fear. Caesar had his Brutus. Charles I had his Cromwell. The room froze. And King George, he paused. One breath. Two. May profit by their example. Treason, someone screamed. Patrick Henry didn't even blink. If this be treason, make the most of it. Look at his eyes. This is a man who has thought about this moment for years, who has rehearsed these words in the darkness of his study, who has asked himself over and over again, how far are you willing to go? And has finally given himself an honest answer all the way. In London, Parliament was not laughing. The reports from the colonies were catastrophic. Merchants losing fortunes, ships returning empty, trade collapsing across the empire. The Stamp Act was supposed to solve Britain's debt problem. Instead, it had created something far more dangerous, a revolution. Samuel Adams wrote letters, hundreds of them, to merchants in New York, lawyers in Philadelphia, farmers in Virginia, printers in Charleston. His handwriting was not elegant. His sentences were not flowery, but every word carried the same message. We are not subjects. We are citizens, and citizens have rights that no king can take away. He wrote until his candle burned down, then lit another. There was too much at stake to stop. In the next room, Elizabeth Adams was already asleep. She never complained about the candles, burned through the night, never complained about the men who came and went at all hours, never complained about the danger. Her husband was walking into, with his eyes wide open. She believed in him, quietly, completely, without being asked. That kind of faith is its own kind of courage. March 18th, 1766. Parliament repealed the Stamp Act. The news reached Boston on a Tuesday. Within an hour, church bells rang. From every steeple in the city, bonfires blazed along the harbor. Men who had never met embraced each other in the streets, laughing and weeping at the same time. Boston had won. Look at their faces. That old fisherman, laughing for the first time in months. That young apprentice, jumping up and down like a child. That grandmother in the doorway, hands pressed together, eyes closed, lips moving. These are not heroes in history books. These are just people. People who wanted to live free, and for one shining moment. They were. But Samuel Adams had read the fine print. On the same day, Parliament repealed the Stamp Act. They passed the Declaratory Act. We have the right to tax the colonies. In all cases whatsoever. All cases whatsoever. Adams read those 3 words 3 times, then folded the paper carefully and put it in his coat pocket. and went to find his men. 3 words. In all cases whatsoever. Read them slowly. In all cases whatsoever. Parliament was saying something very clear. We retreated today, but we have not surrendered. We will be back. And next time, we will not send tax collectors. That night at the Green Dragon Tavern, the bells were still ringing outside. Adams waited until the room was quiet, then spoke. They retreated. They did not surrender. Silence. The Declaratory Act gives them the right to tax us whenever they choose, however they choose. He looked around the room. Next time they won't send tax collectors. They'll send soldiers. After the meeting, Adams walked alone to the Liberty Tree. The bonfires were dying down. Along the harbor, the bells had gone quiet. He placed his hand on the bark of the ancient elm. He thought about his father, about Elizabeth, about the 9 men who had gathered here not long ago, about what they had started, about where it was going. The Liberty Tree said nothing. Trees never do. But Adams stayed a long time, long enough to think about everything that had been given, long enough to think about everything that might still be taken, long enough to make his peace with what was coming. He was not a young man anymore. He was tired, but he was not finished, not even close. This is not over, he said quietly. It is just beginning. Somewhere out on the dark water of Boston Harbor, a British ship was already carrying new orders from London. New taxes, new laws, new demands. The Townshend Acts were coming, and this time, Britain would not back down so easily. Episode 5. The soldiers arrive in Boston, and nothing will ever be the same again.